Humanity of Lake and Sumter counties for allowing Romac Lumber to be a signature sponsor of this wonderful AmeriCorps Build-a-Thon. If not for the Habitat staff, I probably would not be here tonight. Director of Construction, Sean De La Casilla, introduced us to this opportunity to serve. And Habitat's CEO, Ken Adcock, held our hand through the entire process. These guys are true professionals who mean what they say and do what they mean. But most importantly, they believe in the cause of affordable housing. I personally understand how important a home is to one's sense of dignity and pride. I was born in dirt poor North Mississippi in a 2-bedroom rental home which housed 4 other brothers and a sister. Later, my parents were able to buy their first home and move out of the mill house. Our new home was 40 years old in 1970, but it had a big, beautiful backyard where we could all play baseball. Now, I must admit, it did create a little problem for me when I took my mother's 10-pound bag of all-purpose Martha White flour and lined the infield. But ladies and gentlemen, it was a beautiful infield, and it was our field. In 1979, I married my wife, Darlene, and we had nothing. In fact, I say we had less than nothing. During the early years, we lived in some very cheap rentals with less than adequate accommodations, and that's putting it mild. It took 13 years before we could buy our first home. It was a HUD house in Pascagoula, Mississippi that she and I got, and we worked like dogs to make it a home. But it was our home, and we did not mind the hard work, and that's the model that Habitat uses. After 34 years of marriage, we look back at that house as some of our happiest times. God has since blessed me more than I could ever imagine, but I do not forget where I came from. Today, there are millions of people who have lost their home, who cannot afford a home, or who are homeless. Recently, I participated in a national focus group in which several so-called experts in housing said homeowners of the future, like many in this room, have different values than their parents. They said this new generation did not care about a house. They're more concerned with smartphones and social media. In my view, they are dead wrong. This generation has the same yearning as those before them. They want a house to call their own. They dream of the dream of home ownership is alive today as ever in any generation. But the challenge is, how do we make it a reality? Affordable housing done right in America is a key to building a strong nation, a strong moral nation. When you hear people tell you that home ownership is not important in our society, remind them of just this one fact. Jesus was a carpenter. Our Lord spent his life on earth building homes and building lives. And home ownership is the cornerstone of hope for any new life. In closing, I want to give you a quote from one of my all-time favorite movies. In fact, Darlene and I see it every year, once or twice, and you'll probably recognize it. Just remember this, Mr. Potter. This rabble you're talking about, they do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Well, is it too much to ask them to work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? In this crowd shared the same feelings I share. I don't think so. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, Habitat of Lake and Sumter County, and God bless every one of you this week. Thank you very much.